Let's talk about Amon. Legend of Korra. What's so interesting about Amon is the older I've gotten, a little bit that character resonates a little bit more with me than it did when I was a kid. Because as a
Mhm.
kid, I'm like, "You're evil, Amon. I hate you." And then you go back and you're like, he's speaking a little bit. I don't know. He's saying a little something, you know. And
Yeah,
I
he's all about
and
equality. So yeah,
Amon is one of my favorite animated character roles of all time. And I'm not
right.
just saying that because you're here. I think the writing behind Amon is out of this world. The score is fantastic. The first season of Legend of Korra is chef's kiss. It is
Yeah.
phenomenal. You and D. Bradley Baker as the bro. Oh, Tarla. Yo, D. Bradley Baker is Tarla. Please.
Yeah.
That ending scene, we're going to talk about that, but that ending ripped. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps right now, Steve. You can't see him, but I'm getting goosebumps just from thinking about that. I'm curious, when you first started recording for Amon and before knowing all the twists and what was to come, were you rooting for Amon in the first place? Or did you already know what was going to happen?
I didn't know anything. I came in like I do for most shows. I get one script. I have no idea where the arc is going. Um, and what I try to do, especially when I'm playing villains, is to try to get into their head from their perspective because they don't believe they're villains. Unless they do. Starscream might be an example of one who he's a bad seed. But most villain characters have a perspective where they feel like they're doing the right thing. They're doing it for the greater good or whatever. Amon was one of those characters. I came in for Amon with guns blazing. I was so excited to work on an Avatar project. I missed out on the first one. I never got to even audition for the first version of Avatar. So I was just excited to get to audition for it. And Andrea Romano was directing, who is one of the most legendary
Blessings.
directors of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Besides my wife, she is my favorite of all time. And to get to work with her on a full series was just amazing just before she retired. And I came in kind of with guns blazing for him on, and the images that they showed me for him initially were that he was on stage, this big stentorian cult leader, basically. And so I came in with, this big voice, this big presentational kind of thing. And I thought, maybe behind the scenes, they'd have another version of him and I'll just, tone that down and I'll get to play with all the layers. And Andrea said, no. Amon is always in control. And he's got this mask on. So you can't really tell what's going on behind the mask, but Amon is always going to be here unless he has to project to make sure that he stays alive in the moment, or that, he has to for that particular situation. But if he's got a microphone, he's going to stay right here, which I felt was so much more chilling and more authentic. And I stepped into those shoes with glee, man. I loved Amon. He was one of my favorite villains of all time. And ultimately, I didn't really see him as a villain. And so if I was rooting for him, I don't know, because once I'm in those shoes, I am that character. And so I'm just, trying to get my mission accomplished as that character. But later on, once I realized who he really was and his history with Tarlok and everything, I felt bad for the dude, honestly. And I kind of did root for him a little bit because I felt like, all things being equal is sometimes a good thing. So.
And when we saw him take that big billionaire guy who's a bender who's like abusing his workers and stuff
Yeah.
like that's a story that unfortunately will be timeless just because of how power and greed and money works.
Yeah.
People do take advantage of the lower class all the time and just grind them into the dirt. And I was so, as a kid, I'm like, wait, why are you beating this guy? But as an adult, I'm like, he needs to get a little bit more than his bending taken away.
Yeah.
because he is abusing these people. And it's, I did find myself rooting for Amon a lot on rewatch. Do you think Amon could have been redeemed, or do you think he was too far gone and Tarlok was basically right in getting both of them?
I don't know. I felt like Amon's belief system was so strong that he really felt like he was doing the right thing. So to him, I don't know if there would be redemption in that. The only redemption would be in his relationship with Tarlok and maybe revisiting parts of his life that he tried to shut down. So it might have changed his perspective a little bit, might have made him a little bit less aggressive as the bad guy, um, and maybe truly be able to pursue the notion of equality. Um, but I think Amon is Amon is Amon, and I really felt like that was how he truly felt. He really believed that. We could use Amon's bloodbending. There's a few people I'd love to use that bloodbending on now. I'll tell you, man.
Oh God. Cold world, cold
This
world.
world right now needs quite a few more Amons, I think.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with what you and Andrea created with this universe, with this character, and I'm just your voice is so iconic. I will never forget the line. There are two lines I won't forget. The one where he's like, he captures Korra and is like, trust. He's like, he basically said, trust. I'm gonna get you. That's basically what he said. I'm gonna get you.
I
Not
told you I
now.
would destroy you. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. And then my next favorite line is when he meets Tarlok in the cell and he's like, please, like, you're literally the only thing I have left. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then, oh man,
Tarlok
goosebumps.
was the link to his humanity. So, yeah, which
And
D has been several times in my career and my life.
what a wonderful man.
Yeah.
Another performer who, God, I would just love to pick his brain apart about things, especially that role. I feel like that role is, I feel like what you guys did as those two characters is so important for where we are in society now. You know, there is this need for just burning this whole ship down, just getting rid of all of it. And it's so interesting to see how both of these characters got consumed by their demons. And Targ was basically like, you know what? I think this is our final journey. And go. And what's so crazy, someone put this in the comments, is that, you know, Amon with his bloodbending basically knew his brother was about to kill both of them, and that's why he cries.
Yeah.
And your final line, oh my God, we were like, Noah talk. I almost forgot the sound of my own name.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, please don't do this. And then I see Tarla grab it. He's like, it'll just be like it was before. And then Amon starts crying. And I'm like, whoever, writers, y'all need it. Like, you need the money. So good.
Yeah, Mike and Brian created something really special there. D, that was one of the few shows. D and I have worked as brothers or partners on so many different projects. And that was one show that we actually got on the phone afterward and kind of had to have a moment of silence. Both of us were broken because we didn't know it was going to happen. And we got really attached to those characters, and especially going to that place with those characters, that hit home for both of us in a really profound way. So, yeah, man, if you're passionate about this work, you feel it when stuff like that happens.
Absolutely.